Hi everyone, hope that you all are doing well. So in my last video about Spring AI, we discussed about how you can integrate OpenAI ChatGPT with Spring Boot application and use the data model to ask questions. And in that video, we were using some deprecated API. The link would be in the I button. Go and check the video. So here is an update to the video as we will be using prompt to ChatGPT for decision making in our Spring Boot app. So in today's video, we'll learn that how we can make decisions in our Spring Boot application using Spring AI's analytics. In this video, we are integrating with OpenAI, as I already told in the previous video that I have generated for the OpenAI. So you can also generate it. You can go and check my previous video from the I button or from the description. But before we jump into the video's context, would like to request you to support this channel by liking, sharing and commenting on the videos. And if new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. So let's go to the IDE and let's start by creating a project. So let me go on file and let me say new project, start a project. Let me name the project as Spring AI prompt, right? So here I'll be designing a small application where you will be getting to learn that how you can make decisions on the basis of the output generated by ChatGPT model of OpenAI, right? So I'm keeping the Java version as 21, right? And these are my packages, code with Raman.implementation. So let's go next. So we are using Spring version 3.3.3 and we need the dependencies of Spring Web and Spring AI, OpenAI dependency, and also we need the theme leaf dependency. So why we require the theme leaf dependency? Because on the basis of the decision, on the basis of output that ChatGPT generates, we will be taking some decision and we will be showing the output to the user in the form of HTML, right? So the person would be able to see the output in the form of HTML. And HTML could be shown only with Spring Boot only when you have the theme leaf dependency in your project, right? So we need these three dependencies: OpenAI, theme leaf, and Spring Web. Let me finish and import the project. So my project is imported, right? So let's go on pom.xml and let's see that the dependencies that we have put in our project. So we have the theme leaf dependency, we have the Spring Web dependency, and we have the Spring AI. So these are the dependencies that we require in a project, right? So now just to tell you that in the application properties, my properties would remain the same as I have told in your previous video that I have generated the key and the model for OpenAI. So those properties will remain the same in the application properties. So our application pom.xml is ready, application properties is ready, right? So the same properties would be there. So I'll put that properties in application properties. And now what we have to do is we have our main class. Now I have to make a controller package, right? So we'll start by simply making a controller package, right? So let me now create a controller. Let me say a class that is a AI controller. So this is my AI controller. Let me mark this as @controller. We are not making a REST controller, we are making a controller, right? Because we have to show the output to the user with an HTML, right? So we have to mark this as @controller, right? So now what we require, if you go back to the previous video, in that video we were using chat client, right? In using the chat client, we were calling the call function to generate the output, right? It was a simple basic application, a hello world for Spring AI, wherein we were asking some questions through ChatGPT using the call to chat client.call API, and the ChatGPT was giving us some response, right? But in this video we require the response for internal decision making, right? And we are using prompt. I'll be trying not to use the deprecated API, right? So in this project we'll be using prompt to generate the output. So let's start by saying private find the chat dot chat. Here what we are doing the constructor injection. So we have the chat model. In this video we'll be using chat model instead of chat client, right? So now I have to write a controller call. So let me say I'll write a controller get mapping call, and let's say public. I'll generate a string as I'll be displaying the HTML to the user. So let's say string, and let's say hello, right? So this would be a decision. I'll be making actually two controllers. One would be dependent on the question asked by the user, right? The input given by the user to the request. and one would be for internal decisions, right? And then I'll tell you that what in how you can use that internal decision making call in your applications, and define that what decision you can take from your applications, and how practical examples could work for this. So here I'll say that say hello, and here I'm not taking any input from the user. This is for the internal decision making, right? So let's create a prompt class. Let me say there is a class called as prompt template. Let me generate a prompt template. Let's say new prompt template. You can see that the prompt template that we are using is from the Spring framework.ai.chat.prompt template, right? So it is a Spring framework class that we are using, and we are saying new prompt template, and we have to pass the prompt here, right? So what could be our prompt, as we are taking for the internal decision making? So let me ask the chat model that the chat model should answer my question only in 2 words, either yes or no, right? So to tell that that chat model that you have to answer in yes or no, I have to give a prompt, right? So let me give a prompt here. Let me say let me double quote it, and let's say answer with yes or, right? So now this particular prompt will tell the chat GPT that the answer should be either yes or no, nothing else, right? So the answer should be either in yes or no, right? And we have to add our question, right? So my question would be there. So let me say that this is my question. So now in the we have put the question. So that question input should be required, right? Input, either you give the input, or the user that is hitting the endpoint should give the. So here there is a class called as prompt. It's a prompt. It's again from Spring Framework. Prompt equals prompt template dot, let's say create, and in create the create methods take input as chat options or either map, right? So prompt, if you go in the method, it says that it takes the input as map, right? Either map or chat options, right? So you can give input as map and chat options, right? The key and value would be given, right? So for the map one, we'll be using this method, right? We are taking input as a map, string and object. So we will give a key and the object, right? So for us, both are string, right? So I'll say map of I have specified that question I have to give I have to actually define the placeholder value, right? So the placeholder value for question, right? So question placeholder value would be defined here, right? So if I say, if I want to ask a question, that let's say I want to ask, is this a long weekend in India, right? So now my question to ChatGPT model would be, answer with only yes or no, is this a long weekend in India, right? So at present the weekend is not long, so the answer should be no, right? So if the answer is no, then I have to define some HTML for that, and if answer is yes, then I have to define some HTML for that, right? So now I have to call the model. Now I have to do the calling, right? So let me say that I need the output equal chat model dot call, and I'll pass the prompt. I'll pass the prompt here, right? And let me say get result dot toString, right? So now single the output would be in this particular string, right? So the output is a complete object, right? And in that complete object there would be a answer, a specific answer that would be provided by the chat model, either yes or no, right? So I have to check that my output contains either yes or no. So if I say if output dot contain, let's say yes, then I have to do some return, right? Else I have to do some return, let's say return. So we'll define the HTMLs for this. Now let me tell you that what practical examples you can take for internal decision making, right? So as I said that the chat model could be used for internal decision making as well. So let's suppose that you have a cab service and you want to know that is there a long weekend in India or not. So your decision is being based on, like, if there is a long weekend, then there would be a price hike in your cabs, right? So there would be a price hike if there is a long weekend. So that decision could be taken from ChatGPT. You can simply hit the API, you will get the answer either yes or no, and on the basis of that you can take some action on your services, right? Same way, if you have a store, right? If you have an electronic store and you have a website for that to sell your products, you have a website, a store, right? So to decide that the prices should go up or not, you can use the chat model decision making, right? So you can put some prompt, and with that you can put your question, and on that basis you can change the prices of your electronic items and sell it on your stores. So it depends on that how you can use this decision making of ChatGPT model, right? So you have to define the if else model, but you will have the output from the chat model, right? So you can use in some other ways as well. You can plug and play with this API, right? So I have made a call. So let me first define a call. Let me define the map. We don't have the input, right? So now let me copy this, and let me now define a controller that will be based on the user's input, right? So let me say request param, and let's say string input, right? So I'll get some input from the user, and let's say this is say hello decision basis. So I have this method. Now this input will directly go in this question, right? So I don't have to put the question. I am getting the question from the user. I have my prompt that answer in yes or no, and I'll put the question here, right? So the question has been defined by the user itself, right? So let me simply replace the string with the input, right? So let me replace the string with an input. Now on the basis of the output, I'll be doing some work, right? I'll be showing some HTML to the user. So let me create two HTMLs, one with the answer yes and the other one with the answer. So let me create two HTMLs, right? One with the answer that if I get an answer yes, then that HTML would be displayed. If I get answer no, then that HTML would be displayed, right? So let's go to the resources, and let's go template. Let me create a file, and let me name it as no weekend hello.html, right? So let me say yes, and so this is a simple HTML that I have defined, right? So here is a text, say hello world, let's enjoy the Saturday and Sunday, soon there will be a long weekend, right? So there is no weekend, long weekend, right? So this HTML will be displayed. And let me make another HTML. Let's say file, let's say weekend dot. So if our answer is yes, then it's a long weekend. So I have to say hello, hey hello India, it's a weekend off today, right? So it's a long weekend, right? So it's just a small example that I'm displaying. You can plug and play with this decision making anyway, right? So let me say that if the answer is yes, I have to display weekend low, right? And if the answer is no, I have to say weekend, right? Same way, the below controller as well, we'll paste the, let me pay no weekend hello and weekend, right? So now my controllers are ready, right? So let me say, let me change the endpoint as well. Let me say hello, right? So the hello one would with the input would be the decision making based on the user's input, and the simple say hello would be the internal decision making, right? And we are passing the same prompt in the calls, right? So now let me go to application.properties and put some properties there. So as I said that the properties in application.properties would be same. So you can check my previous video that how I generated the key and the model. What is the model type and what is the key in the application.properties. From there you'll get an idea and you can put it in your application.properties, right? So now my code is complete. Now let's go to the main class and let's run the application. So this is my main class. Let me run the code. My application has started. Let's go on the browser and let's run the endpoint. So let's first start with the simple one. Let's say localhost 8080, and the simple one was let me go to the we have to say hello, right? So if I say hello, and the prompt was that is there a long weekend. So let me go and hit this endpoint. So the long weekend was not there. So it says, hey, hello India, let's enjoy Saturday and Sunday. Soon there will be a long weekend, right? So this is no weekend hello, right? So same way, if I say that I want to give some input, put as in, let's say I give that is this a weekend. So if this is a weekend going on, so is this a weekend in India, not a long weekend? So let me hit this endpoint. So if I say that is this a weekend in India, so it says, hey, hello, it's a weekend off today, right? So as the day is Saturday, so the weekend is there in India, so it says the output is yes, right? So this is how you can define some of your decisions on the basis of using the Spring AI chat model, right? And on that basis, you can do some changes in your service of your product, right? You can make a Spring Boot application, and you can have various functionalities on the basis of chat model's output, right? Show the you can govern the output on the basis of prompts to OpenAI ChatGPT, right? So this can be used for various decision making activities as discussed, for cab service or sale on the store, right? So this was it from this video. Hope that you people like, share, comment on the video, and if new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Hope to see you in the next video. Till then, happy learning.